What's up, Jody?
Not much, Bill. How are you doing today, man?
All right. I saw these fish. What are these green tiger barbs are in there? I've never seen this before.
Yeah, so I've been looking for them for a while, and I got them. I fell into them.
Just tripped over and bought some fish.
I did.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah, I got Puntigris tetrazona. They're green tiger barbs.
What did you just like buy these out of nowhere?
I saw them out of the corner of my eye, and I had to get them. I had been looking for them online for a little while, so it was pretty cool. So I did. I dropped it. I got fish, not knowing I was getting fish.
Yeah. I mean, I think it happens to everybody that you walk into the store and you've been looking for them. And man, those are beautiful green fish.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm looking at that saying, you know, we got to do something special with that fish. I want to redo one of my tanks. And I think that a really good idea is that green fish, it's weird in an aquascape. You know, what if we did an aquascape with all plants, but nothing was green, and we'll use green fish?
Yeah, some purple and some reds and stuff like that, and some flowering plants. That'd be great.
I think that'll be fun.
The barbs are a schooling fish too, so they'll do great in there and they'll stick together. You know, I found 14 different kind of barbs today when I was looking after I started thinking about it, and it was pretty cool. Bill, how many different type of tiger barbs do you think you can name? Because there's a lot more than I thought.
Okay. This is legit because I'm I'm like not nearly as educated in fish as you are. So,
I was surprised.
Okay, so
I have a list.
Ready? I'm gonna read them off.
I'm gonna check.
Tiger barb.
Yes.
All right, so it's well, what was this? What were these? Green tiger.
So we got one. There's
Green.
two.
So because I just saw those.
Yeah.
Cherry barb.
Yep.
You know, trying to think. Whatever. Is there a rosy barb?
I think I have to look.
I think it might be a rosy barb. I think they were on Aquarium Co-op talking about them.
There's a lot of them because I think I know that other red ones might also go by that. I saw a few with a few names.
Yeah, because I would be into that because they eat algae. So
when the pressure's on, it's hard, especially if you don't know these fish.
Yeah.
So to even you got 3 of them. The ones that really stood out to me that made me laugh, and I had to double check them.
Yeah.
Was the spanner and the checker barb. Here I have tiger barbs. I have green tiger barbs, and I have some rosy tiger barbs, I guess, but they're like
reddish.
Ruby.
Ruby.
Is that what they're called? A ruby tiger barb?
Yeah. I mean,
but my favorite one that I came across, and it made me smile, is called the chubby head barb. So I saw a couple different photos online. They were very far off, so I don't know which one was which, but I will be looking more into that.
Yeah, no, I want to know what a chubby head barb is. I'm gonna have to look one up now.
So. Yeah, 100%. So if you're gonna get these, you know, get a group of them because they're gonna do better.
They're better.
You can mix all the barbs together and stuff too because they're all one kind of barb. It's a tiger barb.
So do they crossbreed?
Well, it's one barb.
It's one barb bred out in
that's
what so if you mix them, it's like doing shrimp. It's like doing M&Ms.
That's what it kind of
get brown shrimp.
That's what it kind of seemed like. It's one shrimp, and these are all variations and line bred variations of it.
Okay, so don't mix them. Just keep them pure. People work really hard to make that.
Yeah.
We were having a conversation before, and I thought it was a great idea where you wanted to kind of bring up a fish species, and we'll kind of talk about it every episode, and you know, trying to cover stuff that's here in Uncle Joe's Fish Shed, and I think share some of the information. We'll kind of have you rating on what we think the fish are. So, you know, what isn't to keep in these fish? Is it hard? Is it hard, medium? You know,
I don't have a lot of experience with barbs. I do have a few kind now. They seem to be more on the easy side. You know, they like plants. And they, you know, they like to be in groups, and they're schooling fish. So
when I see that you've got these fish, you got them in a tank. That's a quarantine tank. Is that your you know, how do you go about your bringing fish into your fish room?
Yeah, I quarantine everything that I bring home. So these here, I have tanks for them. A lot of people don't have space for them, so they don't quarantine fish.
Yeah.
So I bring the fish home. I put them into a clean tank with clean, fresh water. I use Pimafix, Melafix, and Icex with everything I use right off the rip.
Okay.
If I see any signs of parasites or anything, I am not the best with this, so I usually will contact someone unless it's something I do know, and I'll use the recommended medication.
Yeah, no, I get you. There's a lot to know, and we're fortunate that we have a lot of friends that are specialists in this type of stuff, and we can reach out to them, and that's what we want to bring to this, is that kind of share mentality and help each other. And for me, like, I'm in the same boat, but I don't have an extra tank, so I use like a tub a lot of times, and it's the same idea. It's just we need a tub and just get some basic filtration, get a sponge filter put in there. Now, for some people that have a tank may not have an extra sponge filter. If you bought a sponge filter, you stuck it in the tub, you took your filter, wrung it out in there real well, just basically cleaning the filter in that 10 gallons, run that sponge filter, you'll have plenty of nitrifying bacteria to process whatever.
Yeah, I think I got pretty lucky with these fish. They look really healthy.
Yeah,
so
they did look really good.
I'm pretty excited to see what we can do with them and to see pick through them. Try to get another group from somewhere else and pick through those and maybe get a nice group set up to breed.
Nice. That'll be really good. I would love to get some of those fish.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. But back to setting up your tub and stuff, it's pretty simple. For us in Southwest Florida, our tap water, at least here where I live, it comes out at about 7.2. These fish can do well between 6 to 8 pH.
Big range. Other than that, you're just not using a heater, it's just a sponge filter right in the tub. And how long are you really letting them sit before you do anything?
I'll let mine at least sit for 2 or 3 weeks before I do anything at all with them, and just observe them. After a few days, I'll start feeding them and whatnot. So what's different for me, I'm not putting them in a community tank as like you would be. So the tank these fish happen to be in right now, that's the tank they're going to stay in, and I'm going to work with them in. So that just makes it a quarantine tank right off the rip. I do have hospital tanks. I have one on the counter in there, and I have one when you first come in for other things that is strictly for hospital tanks. That's stuff that comes and goes.
And I think that like for me it was totally different. A lot of times I'm getting fish from fish hobby place, pea puppers and stuff like that, because I haven't had great success on the local fish store for pea puppers. So through my club I've gotten them, but you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what they're being fed. They looked a little skinny, so I'm running Paracleanse, and then I run Maricin, and then ICX. And then if that doesn't really do anything and I'm seeing everything is fine, then I'll move them from there. But the concern with the pea puppers is that they have tapeworm a lot of times. It takes 2 treatments. So it turns into 6 weeks, because you got to give them the treatment for 2 weeks, give them 2 weeks off, and then treat them again because you don't kill the eggs. So it turns into a 6-week quarantine. So I think it's important that everybody understands that it varies what they need for their quarantine.
Are the pea puppers mostly like wild caught then, or
a lot of them?
overseas?
The majority that you're getting that are imported are wild caught. So I did have a local fish store that was able to get somebody locally breeding them, as I was told, and they were a little bit small. And honestly, the problem is that I don't find them that often. If they're around, they usually don't stay around. So end up buying whatever I can find. So I'm up
get
to
the
8
pea puppers
now.
when I see them.
Well, I'm at 8. I'm good now. I've got a good amount now. But it took a little time.
I like watching them eat the darrow worms.
The darrow worms.
Beautiful.
That's a great one.
So I'll take these fish here. We'll keep them in. We won't feed them for a couple days. I'll start them on live food right off the rip. They're from a pet shop, so they're going to eat other things too. But that's just what I like to do. And I'll feed them live food. I'll switch that out every day to something different. I'll brine shrimp one day, maybe micro worms. That's a little bit small for them, so I won't use those. But black worms or something like that. And then I'll go to frozen. I'll do a flake and a pellet mix in there. And then I'll probably feed these guys some rapashi too.
That diversity I think is key, which a lot of people don't really talk about much. And I'm happy to hear that someone else is doing it too. That I have my staple foods, but there's always something changing up during the week that is either frozen, baby brine shrimp, the darrow worms, regular, canned pellets or stuff like that,
I
flake.
I have it in my mind that I wouldn't want to eat the same food every single day all week.
Even if it was cake, even if it was chocolate cake.
And I feed like 3 times a day minimum here, fried more than that. So and I will during the day also. I use different kinds of flakes and different kinds of pellets when I'm on those days. And if I'm doing frozen, I may switch that up during the day too. But I think of it that way, and I think that they would like it better. And I actually think the fish are happier that way, and they appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, definitely 3 times a day. That's a lot for a lot of people. I'm maintaining, so I'm usually feeding once a day, but it depends. You're breeding. We're trying to grow the fish. We're
Yeah.
trying to make sure they're healthy and beef them up. A lot of times they're coming into you a little malnourished.
Yeah, I'd rather feed multiple times a day, a little bit.
Yeah.
Make sure all the food is gone. Keeps my water cleaner, I should say. I get to see the fish more. I pay more attention to them.
Yep.
And yeah, I just think it's better for them.
Yeah. No,
they're
I
kind of like
definitely
my
agree.
friends, kind of.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't use heaters because the room is climate controlled, and at this level with this many tanks, you can't have a heater. But most people have like a heater in their tank. Your quarantine tank, unless your room temperature is outside of their normal range, usually the water will be within a degree of the room temperature or so. Especially with only an air stone or a filter going, you're not really, there's no filter creating heat. So definitely good idea to keep it covered to try and keep the heat up in it. And if necessary, if you're treating for some things like ick, where you need to raise the temperature, you definitely probably want a small, at least 100-watt or 50-watt heater, just something so you can get the temperature up in that if you really needed to.
Yeah, they're tropical fish, so
yeah,
most people aren't down where we're at. So yeah, I would suggest heaters.
Yeah.
The fish we have here too that we're doing right now, they do well. They got a nice spread of temperature. 72 to 82 is pretty good for them.
You'd be surprised what their tolerance are. It's just the speed that it happened at.
Rapid temperature change, I feel too, can really set the onset of sickness. So gradual changes are good.
Yeah.
So anyways, kind of back to where we were at. So we'll take these fish, we'll leave them quarantined. If we see anything really outstanding wrong with any while they're in quarantine, myself, I'm going to use these to breed with the project and see if I can get enough out. I'll cull the fish.
Yep.
If there's any that are misshaped, no gill plates, I checked all that before I got them.
Just kind of going along with those things. If you do start seeing an issue, then I shift gears and immediately treat that. I don't see through my quarantine meds, their length. If I see a problem, I'm going to change gears and focus on it. So I had an old neon tetra that I pulled out and had to set up a hospital bucket because I was already quarantining something. And I mean, I don't have the endless amounts of tanks, right? So I go and I take that neon tetra and I quarantine bucket him, and I get a sponge filter and I put it in there, and it's 1 neon tetra in 5 gallons, and I start treating him with salt. And 3-4 weeks later, you saw that fish. You were like, "That's a big neon tetra. He's an old boy,
huge."
And he was. Most people would say this fish was dead. Was getting nipped at by other fish. And he's still to this day he's around. Wasn't exactly sure. It almost looked like a swim bladder, maybe a dropsy. But because I was a little unsure, I didn't really want to just start throwing medications at a sick fish. So the first thing I did was just try some aquarium salt. So, there's plenty of ways to approach the problem. I think research of the fish is really important. And also,
100%.
If you accidentally trip and buy fish, you got to make sure that they got a place. You have a place.
Yeah, I do. But another thing with medication too is every medication has a label. I'm never saying not to follow the manufacturer's recommendation. There are times when you have to do other things. There's certain kind of medications that you can't use together. Certain medications will just rob your oxygen from your water. I'll still use those and not change my water all the time, depending on how sick fish are. I don't think it's as harsh as people think it is buying fish, and every fish at the pet store is not sick.
There's
Petco doesn't just have sick fish everywhere at every Petco.
Every fish isn't bad.
Mom and pop.
We talked about this. We're gonna do I bought a fish from Petco because there is a way to buy those fish. You're just more on guard. You're just watching more. If you buy the fish and you're not following a protocol to treat the fish and make sure it's healthy, you're not giving them a real chance. Just waiting to see something develop is just an after effect. A lot of people buy a fish and they quarantine by just putting them in something that's separate from their display tank, and then wait 4 weeks and then put them in there. But the problem is that you could be carrying things and living with them. Fish can live with parasites for years.
Long time.
Years. Do you put anything in your quarantine? Like, I know that tank's pretty new, but you had some stuff in there. But like, what do you recommend that people do?
I put a lot of top plants on. I like it. The fish seem to like it. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I have access to really a lot of plants. I mean, they just keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. I like to use frog bit when I can keep it alive inside. I have a hard time with that.
Humidity,
I use hornwort. Some of the tanks, it just depends really what the fish are that are going in there too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always guppy grass or get hornwort or whatever you can to give them some overhead shelter. They like that. It reduces the stress, and you have to realize stress can be
Yeah.
a big part of illness.
I like to
So-
use what grows fast and what I can get the most of here from here,
Yeah.
because I throw it out.
Yeah, at that point,
throw a lot of it out.
especially if it's been exposed to medications,
Yep.
you can't be reusing that, So
Yeah.
eventually, because you're in that position where that's where they're going to grow up. There's no real changes,
Yeah.
but for like if you're using a quarantine tank, when you're done with that filter, wash it really good, completely dry out, make sure that it has removed anything that may be in there. So if you go to use it the next time, you don't have medication stuck in it. Just rinsing it really well in hot water.
I wish everybody just had access to good, clean fish everywhere.
That's
But
the idea.
You never really do.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have to quarantine. You have to treat. You want to do this preventatively, and then basically making changes as you see things come about. If you start seeing a problem, hookworm is going to be a different medication than when you're already running, but there's no reason that you're going to start that medication. It's going to be harsh. You can kill the fish with the medication, and a lot of people will have that argument, and that's why they don't medicate.
Well,
I think it's just a matter of properly, like you're stating, is read the instructions. Sometimes know your product when you have to go outside of those. There are dewormers that are used in the fish industry that are not for fish, but basically it's the only way people can get rid of really bad parasites.
Especially if you're dealing with wilds.
But you
and
have
stuff.
to know what you're doing, and that's a collective knowledge you'll find online about dealing with those.
So I'm not a plant person. I did hear somebody the other day, maybe we did talk about this, I don't know. I said something about quarantining plants. Maybe it was Robert's wife. So if you quarantine plants, you use medication and stuff like that, then the plants I've been throwing out, can they be, if they're not, maybe I don't need to throw them out. But in my defense, I don't know what else I do with them because they just keep growing.
Or I'll tell you all about how we can quarantine the plants, kill anything on the plants, remove all snails, and use 0 chemicals.
I would love it.
No bleach. Understanding on plant quarantining. What do you do when you buy plants from somebody, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, what do you got? You got snails. You got scuds.
Scuds. I couldn't remember that. I hate them so bad.
So needless to say,
so that means I need to go shopping.
Probably.
I need to go get some plants.
We're gonna get some plants, and then we'll do it right here. It's an easy thing, and for most people, it's a few hours, and the plants are ready to go in your tank. It's gonna be cool.
We better get some colored plants.
Yeah.
Then we can utilize them.
Yeah, we can get you some color.
But I was thinking for the escape tank, but then if I get green plants, I'll just use them, and then we can get more plants later.
Yeah.
It's another excuse to go to the pet store, I suppose.
Well, it sounds awesome.
Right
Next time.
Right on.